A very good evening to all our viewers. This is News First for the People and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Challenge us at an election if you can, says opposition leader to the government.
සමගි ජන බලවේගය මැතිවරණයකින් විනාශ කරන්නට කටයුතු කරන්න ඒ අභියෝගය සමගි ජන බලවේගයක් අපේ മന്ത്രി කණ්ඩායමත් බාර ගන්නට සූදානම් කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
Sajith Premadasa unanimously reappointed as leader of the Samagi Jana Balavegya for 2023. It's time to change Sri Lankan politics, a statement by the president. Prime Minister says all is ready for local government election. The country was made bankrupt by the Rajapaksas, a statement by former President Chandrika Bandaranayake Kumaratunga.
රාජපක්ෂ නෝන මහත්තයා කරපු විශාල ප්‍රකාශ. මේ වාගේ මොරකල් සිදු වෙන නිසා තමයි රට අද කිසිම ලෝකයක කිසිම රටක් බංකොලොත් කරපු නැති තත්ත්වයකට බංකොලොත් කරලා තියෙනවා.
Weather returning to normalcy, schools to reopen from tomorrow.
And now the stories in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the politics of Sri Lanka must change. He made this statement addressing an event held in Colombo today.
The President expressed the following views at an event held at Royal College for the International Leo Day.
It's at the worst stage of the crisis that I had to take over as president. It is a task which a lot of people didn't want to do. And I thought to myself, I should do it because we must give the youth in this country a future. We also had to recognize one fact, that the youth were dissatisfied with the system. I don't blame them. I am also a politician, but all politicians were making promises for the moment. No one looked at the future. Other countries, they didn't do that. Not in Singapore, not in Japan, not in India. We just made promises and came to power, lost the next election and made promises to win the election after that. So obviously without growth, when the economy had broken down, when youth had high expectations, they showed their disgust by rejecting the system. We can't carry on a system which the youth think is unfair. The politics of this country has to change. We have succeeded in making the country, which was second to Japan, now the country which is only on top of Afghanistan. When we won the elections in 1977, I was 28. And we were talking of the future. President Jayawardena told us, look, the future belongs to you, not to me. So tell us what has to be done. And we did that. So all I can tell you now, it's your future, not mine. So then we have to have a future that suits you and not me.
Sajith Premadasa was elected as the leader of the Samagi Jana Balavegya for the year 2023. The announcement was made at the second anniversary conference of the party held at the Campbell Park in Buralla on Sunday.
The second anniversary conference of the Samagi Jana Balavegya was held on Sunday under the theme Peraliyata Manga Kiyana Karaliyata Godawanna. Party supporters arrived at the conference in procession from two locations. One group marched from Borella.
I was the organizer of Kote for 12 years, but after the 2015 presidential election, the people rallied like this together for the first time today. Based on what I feel and the politics that I know, the people have given all of us a message here.
Another group of party supporters marched from Dematagoda.
More than a mere conference, in Campbell Park, we are engaged in a battle against dictatorship, suppression and the high cost of living and the struggle of living. We would like to prove to all those who challenged us who the alternative government in the country is and who can run this country.
Leader of the Samagi Jana Balavegya, Sajith Premadasa, joined the march as well. Members of the Samagi Jana Balavegya, led by opposition leader Sajith Premadasa, then arrived at Campbell Park. The rally began after multi-religious observances. Several other members of the opposition also attended the conference. General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balavege convened the conference and the National Executive Council of the party. The General Secretary then presented the annual report.
We will demand a presidential election from Ranil Wickremesinghe. We must push for a general election. 2023 is an election year. Leave this conference with the faith that we can win any election.
During the conference, opposition leader Sajid Premadasa was selected as the leader of the party for the year 2023. Afterwards, party officials were announced. Leader of the Samagi Jana Balavege, Sajid Premadasa, proposed names for the remaining positions of the party. A proposal to transfer the responsibilities of the Executive Committee of the Samagi Jana Balavege to the Working Committee was presented.
After the last presidential election, the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna had the mandate of 6.9 million people. Today that mandate has dropped to 10%. We had a mandate of 5.5 million people. There were two other parties. One had 450,000 votes. The other had 250,000 votes. We know that those two parties cannot get close to a mandate of 5.5 million. There appears to be another deception in the making. The president is going to appoint 10 more ministers. Ranil will always try to save the Rajapaksas and their followers. We need to create a social market economy centered around the Indian Ocean. Only the Samagi Jana Balavege can make this country the center of the Indian Ocean. Only we have a leader that can understand this complicated solution. What is the best litmus test to identify your limits within a democratic framework? An election. We need an election. We are ready to face an election. Try to defeat the Samagi Jana Balavege at an election instead of using conspiracies in air-conditioned rooms. The Samagi Jana Balavege and its parliamentary team are ready to accept that challenge. Only the Samagi Jana Balavege has a team that is not embroiled in fraud and corruption and theft, and that can save the country. Sri Lanka First is our theme and journey. It is to bring Sri Lanka to the first place in the world. We reject the extremist capitalism that have always been followed in this country, and we reject extremist socialism. We follow a middle path.
අන්තවාදී සමාජවාදය අපි ප්‍රතික්ෂේප අපි අනුගමනය කරන්නේ මැද මාවත අපිට අභියෝග කළා පුළුවන් නම් 10000 ගේන්න කියලා.
They challenged us to bring 10,000 people. If they are watching this from their phones, they can understand what's happening here. Go and tell Ranil Wickremesinghe not to try to delay the elections. Hold elections. We will take care of the rest. But we want to say one thing today. We attended this conference in an orderly manner today. If you delay the elections, we will take to the streets to chase out the government and the president. When I joined the army, $1 was worth 4 rupees. Today it is 400 rupees. No government can be proud of our economy. Historically, 50% of our politicians are corrupt. 35% of them are not corrupt, but they don't have a vision. Even if they are not corrupt, there is no point since they don't have a vision. Only 15% of politicians in parliament, provincial councils and local government have a vision. Only they can save this country.
But more local, international and sports stories come your way on the other side of this short commercial break. Stay with News First. We will be right back.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD.
අයිවන් සතුටින් ඉන්නේ වයරින් කරලා වයරින් කිරුවේ Eslon Polycon යොදලා.
For your safety and the protection of the wires used in networking and AC wiring, Eslon Polycon cable trunking.
Welcome back to the news. Forests in Sri Lanka are the lifeline of both humans and animals in the country. However, due to actions of certain individuals, the pristine wilderness of Sri Lanka has come under threat. Deforestation has become a serious issue affecting a forest reserve in Megasagama.
This is the forest reserve in Megasagama falling under the Thalava Divisional Secretariat. The reserve, which spans over 30 acres, was created by the Mahavali Authority in 1980. However, now a group is clearing out the forest reserve.
This tree is more than 100 years old. Cutting the tree is similar to beheading a human. You cannot solve the land issue in this country with these 30 acres.
Area residents point out that the forest land is being cleared for cultivation and because of the presence of wild elephants.
This is a habitat for jungle fowl, deer and small animals. Elephants do not live here. Valuable medicinal plants have grown here naturally. Inside, there are well-grown trees and plants. They want to remove these plants.
Several locations in the reserve have already been cleared out. During the past few days, another group has cut down large trees in the reserve as well.
They have cut this tree with the intention of killing it. They have cut down a lot of trees, including Halmila trees. This is how they started.
Residents who settled in the area under the Mahavali Authority say the deforestation of the forest reserve is backed by several politicians.
There are people here who live together with 5 to 6 people as they don't have houses. Even they don't have a piece of land here. This is a political conspiracy in the works under the guise of cultivation. This country has already been ruined. By doing this, they are trying to ruin it more.
Residents of the area are not demanding more land from the reserve. Their only request is to protect their forest, which is a lifeline for both humans and animals in the area.
The Mahasangha and a group of residents protested against mining sand in a land situated close to the Padukka Bope Veralagala Purana Rajamahaviharaya on Sunday. The area residents pointed out that sand mining in the area has increased the risk of landslides.
We request all responsible officials of the government to stop this destruction of the environment. It is becoming harder for the residents of the village to live. There are hills on both sides. There could be negative effects during the rainy season.
If the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau had given permission for this, they should be here. They have given permission to mine for 10,000 cubes of sand. But when you look at this area, you can see if they have only mined just 1,000 cubes. 13 years ago, when they tried to break this rock and take it away, I placed a statue of Lord Buddha on the rock. That is how I protected this rock. They said that they will prepare this land for trees to be planted. Can that be done now? With the rain that we are experiencing, all of this soil could be washed down and damage the houses located below.
A group of police officers, including the OIC of the Padukka police, arrived at the scene. The OIC of the Padukka police then contacted the owner of the plot of land and informed him to remove the backhoe and lorries from the land.
Also in local news, several members of the Sri Lanka United Business Alliance travelled to Kandy and visited the Mahanayaka Theras of the Malwatu and Askeri chapters and informed them about the economic crisis in the country.
The group visited the Malwatu Mahaviharaya and met with the Mahanayaka of the Malwatu chapter, Most Venerable Thibbatuwa Sri Sumangala Thero.
The government has said that the country is bankrupt. We are not businessmen, we are entrepreneurs. We say that the country is not bankrupt. All these governments that came to power bankrupted the central bank. Now the central bank is trying to bring policies that are not sustainable, which will in turn bankrupt the country.
The group then visited the Askiri Mahavihara and called on the Mahanayaka Thero of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Gnanaratana Thero.
The rupee has depreciated. There is no dollar. Foreign reserves have depleted. What are they doing? Every sector is running at a loss. They are trying to recover the loss incurred by the CEB from the people of this country. That is not how countries are run. There should be an economic plan. To recover from that loss, they burden the people.
Views were exchanged regarding the current state of the country when the group met with Most Venerable Dibul Kumure Sri Vimaladhamma Thero, the Anunayaka of the Malwatu chapter.
We live from the alms that we get from the general public. If the general public fails, we too will fall. Our country will become like Ethiopia. That is where the country is headed. The United Nations has said that hundreds of thousands of children are starving. Those are not lies.
The group then spoke to the media.
They are saying different things at different times, like putting band-aid on a wound. I believe that it is best to hold a general election now instead of just holding a local government election. This will enable us to elect some good people who are not thieves into government.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa paid homage to the historic Jai Shri Mahabodhi today.
The former president called on and obtained blessings from the Atamasthana Adhipati, Most Venerable Pallegama Hemaratana Thero. The former president then visited the Jai Shri Mahabodhi and obtained blessings. Speaking at an event in Paduka, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said preparations are underway to conduct the local government elections.
We postponed the local government elections by a year. That time period ends on the 20th of March. It's the Election Commission that has the authority to hold the elections before this time period ends. In the meantime, we're taking steps to amend several electoral laws by passing them in Parliament. The Election Commission should reach a decision and take relevant measures according to the laws that would be passed in Parliament and the laws that have been passed. We're preparing for the election. The Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna says that the party is ready to face any election under the leadership of the Rajapaksas.
පැවැත්වෙන ඕනෑම මැතිවරණයක් සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි එකඟයි අපි ශක්තිමත් මුහුණ දෙනවා. ජය ගන්න පුළුවන් වේද? ජය ගන්නවා. අනිවාර්යෙන් ජය ගන්නවා. මීළඟ ආණ්ඩුවත් පොහොට්ටුවේ යටතේ ඒ වගේම මීළඟ පළාත් පාලන ආයතන වලින් අති බහුතරයකුත් පොහොට්ටුවේ යටතේ. 50,000ක් ලක්ෂයක්.
Just because 50,000 to 100,000 people took to the streets, our voter base won't disappear. We will be able to win any election in the future and establish the power of the Pohottuwa.
කළා පොහොට්ටුවේ බලය යලි ස්ථාපිත කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ රටේ ජනතාවට රාජපක්ෂවරු අවශ්‍ය නම් රාජපක්ෂවරු ඉදිරියටත් දිගටම රට පාලනය කරයි.
Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumartunga says the Rajapaksas bankrupted the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the country. She made this statement during the Anagateta Venasak program held in Kurunagal.
අද අපේ රටේ 133ක් පවුල් වලට කණ්ඩ නැහැ.
Today, 33% of families in the country don't have food. There are no jobs and the economy has collapsed. For the first time, the Sri Lankan government is bankrupt. One of the main reasons for the downfall of the country is excessive amounts of theft by those in power. Corruption within Air Lanka, the Ceylon Electricity Board and the Road Development Authority that went right down to the local government member. I started the Norachule coal power plant project. Rajapaksa stole 15 billion rupees from it. There was a theft in the company called Asset Maritime Limited of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. It was a big theft by Mrs. Rajapaksa. It is because of corruption at such a scale that the country has become bankrupt like no other country in the world.
මේ වාගේ හොරකම් සිදු වෙන නිසා තමයි රට අද කිසිම ලෝකයක කිසිම රටක් බංකොලොත් කරපු නැති තත්ත්වයට බංකොලොත් කරලා තියෙනවා.
News First with the people.
Did the driver of the luxury vehicle who drove recklessly and killed a man in Kolpiti flee the country? There are reports that raise suspicion on this matter.
A luxury vehicle being driven at high speeds had hit a three-wheeler that was parked on the side of the road. According to police, the driver of the three-wheeler, who sustained serious injuries in the accident, died upon admission to the National Hospital. The driver of the luxury vehicle had fled the scene following the accident. The driver of the luxury vehicle that rammed the three-wheeler is still at large. Police confirmed that the driver of the luxury vehicle has been identified as a 25-year-old individual named Mohammed Rasul Mohammed Raizul. Who is this individual? Why has the police not been able to arrest him? An investigation into the incident revealed that the suspect driver of the luxury vehicle in question is a wealthy businessman operating businesses in several countries, including Dubai. According to the police, investigations are still underway to arrest the suspect driver of the luxury vehicle. However, when we contacted the mobile number said to be of the man who drove this luxury vehicle, this was the response we got.
The mobile user you are calling is currently roaming internationally. Please continue to hold if you wish to be connected.
According to this response, the individual in question has already left the country. However, we could not get confirmation that the suspect driver had fled the island. A 58-year-old resident of Polgasovita lost his life in this accident. The deceased man drove a three-wheeler to make ends meet. The loved ones of this innocent man are still waiting for justice.
A group of students at the University of Peradeniya trespassed on the official residence of former Vice-Chancellor of the University, Senior Professor of Geology, Atula Senaratne. The group had then assaulted the professor and his son and damaged the property there. Professor Atula Senaratne and his son were later hospitalized.
Sri Lanka police said a group chased and assaulted the professor's son after the car that he was driving crashed into a motorbike parked near the professor's official residence. The attack, reported at about 10 p.m. on Saturday, was recorded in CCTV cameras at the professor's residence.
I visited my father's house last night. A bike was obstructing the road at the time. I looked around, but there was no one to move the bike. Two bikes were parked. While trying to move one bike, it knocked on the other, and both bikes fell. Another boy saw the incident and thought I dropped the bikes intentionally. I moved away from there because it was risky, and I saw the bike following me. They were shouting in filth throughout. I heard a loud noise and they attacked me. Then I stopped near the gate and asked who threw a rock. After that, 15 to 20 people came from around and attacked me for around 10 to 15 minutes outside the gate. My father came and hugged me. They attacked my father because they couldn't attack me. My eye is bloodshot and I have wounds on my back.
Police said a group raided the professor's house following the incident and carried out the attack. The Peradeniya police took steps to disperse the students from the premises. No arrests have been made so far.
The air quality in Sri Lanka has improved compared to the situation on Saturday. But the air quality in some urban areas is still at an unhealthy level for sensitive groups.
The USA Air Quality Index exceeded 150 in many districts recently. According to statistics, the AQI in the Colombo district that stood at 191 on Saturday is now at 123. Meanwhile, the Met Department predicts that the cold weather in Sri Lanka will continue. Cold weather will continue in the eastern, northern, north central, Sabaragamu and central provinces, as well as the southern province. The department said that weather in other areas is returning to normalcy. Over 30 calves were found dead at the Kantale Reserve today as well. Cattle and goats were found dead in several areas in 5 districts of the northern and eastern provinces since 2 days ago. While over 1,000 animals have died so far, hundreds have fallen sick. The Department of Animal Production and Health said it suspects the change in weather on the 8th and 9th of December was the cause behind these deaths.
Like I said before, based on the post-mortem report, we suspect the animals died due to the impact of the weather conditions. To confirm this, the result of the tests must be released. We can release these results within a few days.
Dairy farmers have called for prompt solutions to protect their cattle and goats.
In a special report yesterday, we shed light on the manner in which narcotics are being smuggled into the northern province, exacerbating the drug issue in the country. The youth in many villages in the north are already addicted to drugs. Today, we bring you their story.
We travelled to several villages in which young, victimized individuals reside. At first, they were hesitant to speak to us, but later they opened up. Countless young people in villages within the divisional secretariat divisions of Gurunagar, Thirunagar, Thinnaveli, Harathipuram, Bharathipuram and Koppai are already addicted to dangerous drugs. We spoke to some of them in the Urumburai village.
Outsiders supply drugs to the village. We receive heroin, ice and other drugs which have to be injected into the body. Some youth sell even the little they have in order to purchase these drugs, despite being unable to afford it.
tablet, heroin, injection.
We met a young man who had received treatment at the Kambakadu Rehabilitation Center.
My family members handed me over to the authorities for peddling drugs in the village. I use heroin and ice. I got used to this through my friends. I have been using for more than 6 years. I am now 21 years old.
Many of these young villagers are serving time in prison, while others are being treated at rehabilitation centers. We even stumbled upon proof that dangerous drugs are being used in these villages. This mother's tragic story proves the gravity of the situation.
I had just one son. I was barren for a long time until I had him. I struggled to educate him. He was good at his studies, but he got addicted to drugs while he was in his O-level class. He then started to steal. We were helpless, so we handed him over to the police. Many young people in the village are already addicted. Even 12-year-olds use these drugs.
Many addicted people are now receiving treatment at rehabilitation centers. We met some of them at one of these rehabilitation centers. We will bring you the details of what we discovered tomorrow.
It is the festive season where people across the globe prepare for Christmas. The Symphony Orchestra of Sri Lanka, one of the oldest orchestras in South Asia, is currently conducting preparations for its annual concert following a wait of 3 years.
There's Christmas in the air. Last performed in 2019, the much-awaited family concert will take place on the 16th and 17th of December at the Bishop's College Auditorium, 7 p.m. onwards.
Hi, I'm C.C. De Silva and I'm a soloist for the concert of the Symphony Orchestra of Sri Lanka happening this weekend. I'm really excited because it's going to be a big event and there's going to be a big orchestral sound backing me, and it's going to be a fantastic show. It's my first time singing with an orchestra, so I'm really excited, and I hope all of you will make it for the show and see you there.
And we are quite excited to get back on stage after nearly 3 years. We are also having 3 choirs performing with us. So we are having a beautiful collective of choral music and orchestra pieces that will definitely grab your attention on the 17th.
Hi, my name is Amasha Tisera. I am a cellist playing with the Symphony Orchestra of Sri Lanka. I will also be singing as a soloist this year. Some top favorites and familiar pieces will be played, so we really hope to see all of you there.
The organisers encourage you to join the festive ambience at the Bishop's College Auditorium as the Symphony Orchestra of Sri Lanka, the Old Joes, Menaka Singers and Resonance, directed by conductors Dushanti Pereira and Nishantha Varnakula Surya, ring out the joyful sounds of Christmas in a program of festive film and feisty music. Vocalists Amarsha Tisera, Krishanta Silva and musicians Navin Fernando and Nilapul Silva will add sparkle to the program with their solo performances of much-loved works.
Time for a short commercial break. Stay with News First. We will be right back.
Trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, 25% for 2 months, 25.5% for 4 months. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability.
The Aware Log initiative paid tribute to the late Queen Elizabeth II at an event held in Colombo on Saturday.
Her Majesty the Queen and Prince Philip are greeted by the Governor-General Lord Silbury as they step ashore from the liner Gothic at Colombo.
During an afternoon of music, prose and the launch of the Monarch's Message, the Vealog initiative paid tribute to Queen Elizabeth II.
This book is a collection of Christmas messages issued by Queen Elizabeth from 1952 to 2022. She issues a message for Christmas every year. But these are not mere wishes. These messages include a wealth of information regarding international relations, foreign policy, Christmas and Christianity. This book consists of 70 messages.
The event was held on Saturday at the National Archives of Sri Lanka Auditorium.
Asoka Dias has been adjudged the winner of this year's Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science Media Awards. He won the Science Communicator Award for the year 2022. SLAAS annually presents award for the popularization of science among the general public through print and electronic media.
Asoka Dias was awarded this prestigious accolade for his contribution for the Sinhala language television program Pathikada on Newsfirst Siddhasa TV. The Best Science Communicator Award is presented annually in recognition of the efforts taken for the dissemination of knowledge in the fields of medicine, agriculture, engineering, computer and social sciences. The Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science Media Awards were presented at the ceremonial inauguration at the 78th sessions held on Sunday, 11 December at the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo.
Moving on to news overseas, a teenage girl's incurable cancer has been cleared from her body in the first use of a revolutionary new type of medicine.
All other treatments for Lisa's leukemia had failed. But doctors at Great Ormond Street Hospital used a technique called base editing to perform a feat of biological engineering to build her a new living drug. 6 months later, the cancer is undetectable. Lisa, who is 13 and from Leicester, was diagnosed with T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia in May last year. T cells are supposed to be the body's guardians, seeking out and destroying threats. But for Lisa, they had become the danger and were growing out of control. Her cancer was aggressive. Chemotherapy and then a bone marrow transplant were unable to rid it from her body. Without the experimental medicine, the only option left would have been merely to make Lisa as comfortable as possible. But thankfully, the 13-year-old is now cured. However, she continues to be monitored.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.